various aspects of the economics. We had started with the definition given by Adam Smith and many more whosoever attended to classes have well understood. Actually speaking, in a nutshell, I want to tell you that economics is nothing but only the science of economy. This is choice out of scarce resources. See, economics applies only when resources are less and need is more. Resources are less. Yesterday it was taught that land, labor and capital, three resources are there which are quite limited. Whereas the demand, population, public is increasing multifold day by day. How to manage out of the same resources in a way that individuals are benefited and also the sovereign is benefited. This economics is not made only for the benefit of individuals. It is exactly made for the benefits of individuals, then for society, then for nation. If any asset is not productive for the use of the nation or sovereign, that cannot be counted to be the part of the economics, because we deal in a democratic setup. We live in a society where equitable share of everybody stands. People who are more powerful, of course they are enjoying more resources, but people who are weak, feeble, backward should not be skipped. They should also get opportunity. This is the true social economics. For that, if you see, Amartya Sen has written his thesis about social economics, and he has borrowed this concept from Lord Buddha. Lord Buddha was the first economist of the land and who has worked wonderfully and has said that Sabbe Satta Arhanta, sabhi ko ahar ki avashyakta hai, basic requirement. So meet the basic needs. And how to meet the basic needs of everybody is called social economics. And economics is nothing but only social economics. See, suppose if society or social people are not there, there is no meaning of economics. In second unit, you will read what is the welfare economics. What is the concept of welfare economics? See, for first unit, assignments have been given in the group, and major number of the students have submitted their assignments. And I, through this portal, advise all students to secure good marks, regular study, and attending to assignment is very important. You know, as per the university guidelines and also as per the government guidelines, the online classes will not continue anymore because now it has come in physical mode. However, for a few days we will continue. Students who are able to attend classes in college are welcome, or the contact classes. See, days are fixed for all the semesters on which day for which subject contact classes are there. And at the same time, say, regular classes are also continued in the college premises. What doubts or anything, if anybody wants, can very well be eliminated through online classes. First unit we have covered, and in that first unit I will like today that you people should note certain things which you should write in your classes. और बेटा है ना, हेलो बच्चे, अमित भैया को दे दो, अमित भैया को. General principles of economics we have taught. Wealth and welfare, classical view, criticism, neoclassic view, Marshall definition, again criticism, scarcity definition of Robbins, superiority of Robbins definition, criticism of Robbins definition. Why I am going slow? Because you have to take note if you are interested. Conclusion, Samuelson growth oriented definition, characteristics of Samuelson definition, scope of economics, subject matter of economics, economics as a science, economics as an art, economics positive or normative science, positive science and normative. What is positive science? For today's utility. And what is normative? It is future. How to use for future. That is called normative. Yesterday we have taught what ought to be, क्या होना चाहिए. Conclusion, basic economic concepts. Economics has come in position only due to scarcity, choice. In scarcity you have to make a choice. Scale of preference, opportunity cost, central economic problems of any economy. What is production? What to produce? How to produce? For whom to produce? Provisions for economic growth, microeconomics and macroeconomics in two parts. When we talk of micro, word micro derived from the Greek word micros, meaning small. Microeconomics is a branch of economy that is concerned with the behavior of individual consumers, film industries, commodities and prices. It studies how decisions made by individuals and business affect the price of the goods and services. See, this is for individuals. Main objective of microeconomics is to maximize utility and minimize cost. At minimum cost, how to use more. It is known as the price theory. You know what is the price theory? Major drawback of microeconomics is the unrealistic assumption of full employment condition in an economy, and it deals with the part of economy instead of the whole economy. So drawback it is told. Accordingly, macroeconomics, the word macro is derived from the Greek macros, meaning large. It is that branch of economy that focuses on the impact of choices on the total or aggregate level of the economic activities. Macroeconomics is the study of aggregates of individuals, firms, prices, outputs. In other words, it is economy as a whole, not individual. It analyzes issues such as the aggregate level of employment, the general price level, aggregate savings, investment in the economy. The main objective of macroeconomics are full employment. It is how to have full employment. economic growth, favorable balance of payment, and price stability. Balance of payment means difference between export and import. This should be positive. So how to make it? Major limitation of macroeconomics is that it ignores the welfare of individuals in an economy and takes into account only aggregate variable, which may not clearly explain economic conditions. You know, when we talk about macroeconomics, so it ignores the welfare of individuals and it takes wholesome. See, as is happening today, what happens? Here, small people welfare, nobody is seeing in the government. Only thing is in total economy should improve. So this, what we are facing today is macroeconomics. This is not microeconomics. Here, nobody is concerned about the employment. Concerned about the show. Microeconomy differs from macroeconomy in that while microeconomics maps up close how individuals make decisions and how these decisions affect the price and output of various goods and services. Individual welfare is not there in macro, whereas in micro it is. So this is the first unit. We have given you the basic idea. You have to read. Without reading, none of the subject could be understood through the class. Only the, see what is class? Class is just like UPS. We can give you support, but you have to read. And if you want more support, you have to come to college. Online classes are not that effective, you know very well. Connectivity problem, this problem, that problem. Limited time, whereas we have to cover many things. That can be covered either through your study, assignments. First unit is over. Today I have given time because revision is also important at this stage. I have revised all the points and important points I have highlighted. I'm sure you people have heard and you have also understood the concept of the macroeconomics and microeconomics, welfare scheme and wholesome, price theory, valuation, various scholars and their criticism. Now, as I told in between that in second chapter, we will be reading the welfare of economics. See, our country or any of the countries, if ignores the welfare economics, that is a total failure. As I mentioned the name of Amartya Sen, Nobel laureate, and also Lord Buddha, they spoke for the welfare of the individuals and whole society. See, until the last person sitting in the last corner of the country is benefited with the scheme, that scheme cannot be said to be the welfare scheme. You know, our country may have 20 crore people still sleep with one-time meals. Our country is in dire need of good framework of the economics, good framework of the policies. So second unit will start, Introduction to Welfare Economics. The literature on welfare economy has grown rapidly in recent years. The utilitarian were the first to talk welfare in terms of the formula, the greatest happiness of the greatest number. How beautiful this key definition. Utilitarian, greatest happiness of greatest number of the people. Not greatest happiness to few number of people. Or not happiness to greatest number of the people. As much as happiness can be given to as much number of the people, that is called a welfare scheme. As I was talking, until the last person sitting in the last corner of a country is benefited with the scheme of economics or of the government or of other program, that cannot be called to the welfare scheme. So here very rightly defined, Wilfredo Pareto, one scholar is there, consider the question of maximizing social welfare on the basis of the general optimum conditions. This definition is only general optimum conditions. This is to be understood very well by everybody, particularly in a country where welfare programs, if are not taken up, our country will go in a very bad shape. Where 50% of people are underemployed, less employed, low paid employed. Again, I want to repeat Introduction to Welfare Economics. You understood? Utilitarian theory. First, they talk about greatest happiness of the greatest number of the people. Vilfredo Pareto has spoken on this thing. Marshall and Pigou, the new classical economics concentrate on particular sectors of economic system in their postulates of welfare economics. It was Professor Robbins, as in first chapter we have read. Robbins' ethical neutrality view about economics that led to the development of welfare economics as an important field of economic studies. Robbins, you have seen yesterday, and yesterday we have read. Accordingly, Kaldor, Higgs, and Scobie, the Russian, scholar have written, socialism will start with Russia and other countries, has laid foundation of the new welfare economics with the help of the compensation principle, avoiding all value judgments. On the other hand, Bergson, Samuelson, and others have developed the concept of the social welfare function without sacrificing value judgment. Value judgment cannot be sacrificed. In the discussion and follows, we shall refer to certain basic concepts of the welfare economics and then pass on to Pareto, welfare condition for an understanding of modern welfare economics. See, welfare scheme, welfare program have to be understood very well because where welfare program is properly done, accrual of crimes will be less. But if programs are done not honestly or so, people who are dying hunger will think other ways, and also the crimes will increase. You being a student of LLB have to understand the nature of crimes and how the crimes occur and how to control crimes. See, economics is subject where until you know the basics of the economics, you cannot diagnose the occurrence of the crime. So economic jurisprudence you have to understand. When we talk of jurisprudence means law, prudence means knowledge. Economy means अर्थशास्त्र. अर्थशास्त्र की लीगल ज्ञान आपको नहीं है तो आप LLB करने में ज्यादा सक्सेसफुल नहीं रहेंगे. इसी तरह सोशलॉजी को आपको ज्ञान नहीं है, सोशल जूरिस्प्रूडेंस नहीं आपके माइंड में, यू कैन नॉट understand the diagnosis of social crimes. Welfare economics has been defined by Stokowski, that part of the general body of economic theory which is concerned primarily with the policy. It is thus a normative study which is concerned with the judgment and prescriptions, but it does not mean that it is not a positive study. It has certain principles and standards on the basis of which the economist can judge and formulate economic policies. However, it is difficult to set welfare propositions which may be purely positive. In a positive study, as pointed out by Mr. J.D.V. Graff, the proof of the pudding is in need in the eating. The welfare cake, on the other hand, is so hard to taste that we must sample its ingredients before baking. How beautifully defined. I'm sure that our students will read these all the things. General welfare refers to all economic and non-economic goods. See, welfare means economic and non-economic. The service that provide utility and satisfaction to individuals living in a community. In this sense, general welfare economics is very wide, complicated, and impracticable notion. Various scholars are there. They have given their views. Dr. Graff does not agree with the Pigou. Pigou ने कहा क्या कहा है? Therefore, defines economic welfare as the part of the general welfare, which can be brought directly or indirectly into relation with the measuring rod of money. In the Pigovian sense, economic welfare implies the satisfaction and utility derived by an individual from the use of economic goods, services, or those that can be exchanged for money. See, what is that? Economic goods, production, services, and barter system, exchange of money. Money as a measure of welfare is neither accurate nor satisfactory because value of money changes with variables in price level. Money is no criteria. Because suppose महंगाई बढ़ गई तो money क्या करेगा? So money as a measure of welfare is neither accurate nor satisfactory. So welfare measures में ये नहीं कह सकते कि पैसा जो हाथ में है उसकी बहुत ज्यादा कीमत है. Because it is not possible to separate. Because value of money changes from variations in the price level. First definition. Yes. Second, economic welfare does not depend upon unexchangeable goods and services because it is not possible to separate economic factors from non-economic factors whereas an individual's state of mind is concerned. In fact, an individual's welfare depends upon both economic and non-economic factors. किसी व्यक्ति का welfare किस पे depend करता है? Economic and non-economic. Since non-economic factors are not capable of assessment, Graf opines that in welfare theory, only economic factors are considered, assuming non-economic factors to be constant. Here, when we talk of the economics, we consider only the economic factors. Non-economic factors we don't consider. What are the non-economic factors by chance? Like pride, like satisfaction, like dignity. So these are the non-economic factors, but it depends on the welfare. Suppose anybody who is having money in the pocket, but is not able to meet 2 times of the needs of family. What will happen? He will go in depression. He will not be that happy as he should be. Non-economic factors also come in the way of welfare schemes. Robusten, while accepting Piaget's distinction between general and economic welfare, prefers to use the word for economic welfare. World welfare, building on the other hand, defines, Balding is one another scholar, who defines economic welfare in terms of the opportunity cost of exchangeable goods and services. See, friends, I request you, welfare economics is very important, which you have to understand as is spoken by various scholars. And how to measure welfare, what is economic condition, what is non-economic regions for welfare have to be understood well. Again, we say resources to be utilized in maximum order for maximum number of people is the welfare scheme, as we have told earlier. Now, how to measure the welfare? There are mainly 2 concepts of measuring welfare. The first relates to Pareto improvement, whereby social welfare increases when society as a whole is better off without making an individual worse off. This provision also includes the case that when one or more persons are better off, some persons can be neither better off nor worse off. Means measurement as a whole of society का welfare से नापने के लिए बोला है, और उसमें कहा है कि एक आदमी का बेटर ऑफ होना से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. It is thus free from making impersonal comparisons. Higgs, Kaldor, and Stokowski have explained social welfare in the Paretian sense in terms of the compensation principle. In the second place, social welfare is increased when the distribution of welfare is better in some sense. Compensation principle is to be understood very well. इसे नोट कर लें. What is the compensation theory and what is compensation welfare principle in welfare economics? It makes some persons in society better off than others, so that the distribution of welfare is more equitable. Compensation is related to equitable welfare. It is known as distributional improvement and relates to the works on social welfare function, equitable distribution of resources. Dr. Graf, however, refers to another concept which he calls the paternalist concept. A state or a paternalist authority maximizes social welfare according to its own notion of welfare without any regard to the views of individuals in society. They do not regard the views of individuals. Value judgments also to be understood. Economics Do not make use of this concept to measure social welfare because it is related to dictatorial regime and does not fit in the economic setup. Economic welfare thus implies social welfare, which is concerned primarily with the policy that leads either to a Pareto individual improvement or distributional improvement or both. Pareto type of improvement or distribution improvement. Value judgments. According to Brand, a judgment is a value judgment if it entails or contradicts some judgments which could be formulated so as to involve any one of the following terms in an ordinary sense. Is a good thing that, is a better thing that, is normally obligatory, it is reprehensive, and is normally praiseworthy. Value judgment describe facts in an emotive way, tend to influence people by altering their beliefs and attitudes. Such statements as this change of increase. I'm sure people are getting, and if any problem is there at any of the students, can very well give a chat or note. And I will reply to you all the queries. Economics is a subject, it's very interesting subject, not only from the law angle, but to run your family better way, to understand the thesis of a society where you are living. When you deal with various types of the clients coming from various areas of the society, how things occur, these all things to be understood in a very good way. Welfare economics is concerned with the policy measures. It involves ethical terminology such as increase of social welfare or social advantage or social benefit. Thus, welfare economics and ethics can't be separated. You know, we have to go ethically. See, welfare scheme doesn't speak that somebody should get money to drink wine or for gambling. They are inseparable because Professor Little, because the welfare technology is a value terminology. Since welfare proposition involve value judgments, value judgment. Value means, when we talk of value means, it should be for the use of society, individual and sovereign all. Anything of, if not for use of the individual, society and sovereign cannot be said to be a resource for the welfare. We have to strengthen our sovereign also. It is the first and foremost duty of every individual. When studying economics, we should not forget that welfare of personal is important, but at the same time, we should see that sovereign is also benefited. Sovereign means country. आपने देखा होगा कि लोगों के पास पैसा बढ़ता जा रहा है और देश कमजोर हो रहा है. इस तरह की इकोनॉमिक्स नहीं चाहिए. Economics differ over this issue. The neoclassical were concerned with the measurability of utility and inevitable interpersonal comparison of utility. Robbins in 1932 led a frontal attack against the view. He maintained that if economics was to be an objective and scientific study, economists should refrain from making interpersonal comparisons. For policy recommendations tend to make some people better off and others worse off. It is therefore not possible to make interpersonal comparisons. That the welfare of one person cannot be compared with that of another. The majority of economists agreeing with Robbins switched over to Paretian ordinal method in order to avoid interpersonal comparison. I'm sure you have to read all the scholars. You have to understand how to build economics as a welfare tool. Balding's view merit consideration in this controversy. See, you know, economics, all the scholars have spoken something and their views are contradictory themselves, and also they don't agree with each other. So whenever may be the case in the Elysian field of pure economics, the social fact is that we make interpersonal comparisons all the time, and that hardly any social policy is possible without them. For almost every social policy makes some people worse off and some people better off. The Parisian optimum itself is a social case of a social welfare function. For if we assume this to be a social ideal, it implies that nobody should ever be made worse off. Whereas most societies have defined certain groups, for example, criminals and foreigners, who should be made worse off. See, you have to read it. Suppose your medium is English, you have to read in English, otherwise Hindi, and try to understand what are the pros and cons of all the views given by various scholars while speaking over economics. If at all you are able to understand this area, first and second unit well, first unit and second unit. First unit we covered earlier. Today we are covering second unit. I'm sure that you will be able to understand economics in a very well way. You have to read twice, thrice, and you have to write your assignments. You have to understand the concepts, and you have to develop your own views. You have to write a write-up in the summary. You send your write-up to the college. If your write-up is up to the expectations of college, we will award you certificate. This year we find that the students have not written their write-up. Suppose we talk of economics, 2 units we have made already 4-5 units over. We are repeating for the use of those students who have joined late. And we request every student to please make your own notes. You drive your own views so that economics should be understood in a very good way. Two units conclusion. The obvious conclusion emerges from the above discussion that welfare economics and ethics are inseparable. Welfare economics only by people who are ethical, for people who are ethical. Welfare scheme is not for the criminals, not for the drunkards. Welfare scheme is not for the foreigners. It is only for good people, ethical people of our country. Welfare program, suppose any welfare scheme is there, it is not for those people who do not care for their own family, who do not care for themselves, who do not care for the nation. Welfare scheme is only for those guys, those families and those societies who care for themselves and the nation. Suppose a criminal, it is not for criminal. It is not for foreigners. It is not for drunkards. It is not for gamblers. It is not for speculators. It is for genuine people who are working for themselves and for the nation, who are sharing responsibility of our country, who are giving some productivity like that. All democratic countries have the ideal of a welfare state. What is this? Our country is having what is ideal? If you see the preamble of the country, we will build a nation where everybody is happy, prosperous, and socially at equal footing. Equality, liberty, fraternity, and social justice. Everybody is living with the dignity. Dignity will be available to a person, pride will be available to a person when welfare economics of the country is very balanced and takes care of all. See, I'm sure you will understand. welfare economics. All democratic countries have the ideal of a welfare state. We also want a welfare state where everybody should be happy. The various legislative measures like free education, heavy excise duty on wine, compulsory national insurance, etc. are of value judgment. You know, heavy excise on wine क्यों? वाइन पीने वाले से हमें क्या लेना देना? दारू पीते पियो, लेकिन एक्साइज दो के देश के लिए. नेशनल इंश्योरेंस कंपल्सरी फॉर ऑल, एजुकेशन फ्री होना चाहिए. All children should be given education, health, security. These are the welfare programs. And wine should be dissuaded, and it will be dissuaded only when heavy duty is paid, heavy excise duty. Economist cannot be expected to be an armchair academician. He can comment and also make policy recommendation on efficiency, distribution, and equity grounds. All such recommendations involve value judgments